What's up, guys? Brian here. Today we're going to talk about if women hit a wall at 30. And you always hear this thing, single women over 30 are damaged goods. Is that true? And obviously, there's always exceptions to the rule. But if you look at J-Lo, you look at Jennifer Aniston, you look at Gabrielle Union, you look at some of these women in Hollywood, and you're like, whoa, okay. J-Lo is 50, and she looked good. So what has kept her looking good? Now, obviously, like working out and eating right, that's the biggest part of it. And then, obviously, from a facial standpoint, she's probably had some fillers done, some Botox. It's been done well, and laser treatment as well is probably what has gotten her to that. But plenty of rest, sleeping, get your sleep, eating right, and exercise. That's the three main things that's just going to make a person like stay a lot more healthy and last longer. Now, that being said, she's 50 years old. It would be very, very, very unlikely that she is still fertile to have children. So this is where part of the red pill community kind of says this: single women over 30 are damaged goods. Now, J-Lo, obviously she has her own status, and she has kids and stuff like that, but she has her own fame, she has her own money. She doesn't obviously need a man to take care of her, anything like that. But let's talk about single women over 30 who are single. Now, I've seen some trends, and again, I'm not trying to trigger all the women out there with this, but there's certain things that you kind of start to see over time with single women who are over 30 and they've never been married. They don't have kids, any of that. Because you start to ask, well, why? Why are they still single? Is it because they focused on their career? Is it because maybe they were in a long-term relationship, it didn't end up working out, and then they ultimately ended up breaking it off for whatever reason, and it just so happened to land them at the age of 32, 33, 34, whatever. That could be, and, but it could be that there's kind of some hidden issues. Maybe they have personality disorders, they're kind of bipolar, or maybe they nag a bunch, or maybe for the majority of the month they're fine, and then they hit their period and they just go completely crazy. So it kind of takes some time to kind of figure that out. Now, a lot of women have become very, very career oriented, and I think that's fine. I mean, I'm definitely not opposed to women having careers, and I like to see that a woman can make her own money, or that she can earn her own money essentially and take care of herself, that kind of thing. Because I don't want to swoop in and take care of a woman. And the same thing probably goes for most women. They don't necessarily, want to be taking care of a man. But when it boils down to it, I've seen a lot of these women, 34, 35, 36, 37, that you start to wonder. It's like, okay, were none of these guys any good? The 500 guys that hit them up on Instagram, and the 200 guys who messaged them on Facebook, and the guys who came up to them in the gym, and they get on Bumble and get 800 messages and all these kind of things. Out of all those guys, none of them were any good. So I think part of it becomes their expectations are unrealistic. So that can be part of it. And then secondly, there could be, kind of hidden issues and stuff that ultimately sort of derails them. What we're seeing more and more, and I'll tell you a story about a chick in San Francisco. So originally I matched with a chick in San Francisco last November when I was there for a cryptocurrency related conference. And I didn't end up, the match didn't show up until I was actually not in San Francisco anymore. We kept in contact, we were connected on Instagram, all this kind of stuff. And then really when it boiled down to it, when I went back out there was some issues, even trying to meet up. And it was almost like she was being very difficult to meet up. It was like she wanted to direct what was going to kind of go on, but it was like I was going to be going out of my way to go see her. Oddly enough, she lives in the city, she doesn't have a car, and she acted like taking the BART, which is basically Bay Area Rapid Transit. It's like a monorail subway system that goes above ground though for part of it. She acted like that was kind of too whatever beneath her or something like that. So I actually went to the city and kind of met her closer to where she was. So, of course, I was going out of the way. Then it was just, you could just tell, in the situation of actually meeting her and all that kind of stuff, that she seemed to be very kind of like high maintenance, kind of bougie a little bit, like almost like she acted like the place we met, which was kind of a sports bar place, that almost like it was beneath her. She doesn't go to those kind of places. Which, I mean, it was just a meeting place. It was fine. It was just kind of whatever. And then, it was like just some of the other stuff she said. It was just, you kind of definitely got the impression that no guy was really good enough for her. No guy was good enough for her. And she's not the only one that I've kind of ran into like this. But they still say that they want to have kids. And it's just like, well, she just turned 36. And statistically, a woman's ability to have kids goes, way, way down, let's say after 30 or 35 or whatever. So like after 35, it becomes a lot harder for them to have kids than when it was 25. And it's something like 70% harder or something like that. Their fertility goes down like 70%. Now, these women in their 30s, let's say late 30s, early 40s, they do get extremely horny and stuff because it's like their body is telling them, like, you need to have kids, and so it's like their body's kicking into high gear and stuff like that. Now, we didn't hook up or nothing like that. It just ultimately kind of led to nowhere with that particular situation, but I've seen this many, many, many times. I saw it in Arizona. It'd be, a woman who's, 35, and just, again, it's just like, on paper, it seems like I don't understand why they haven't met anybody, but then it's just, they expect too much. They expect that the guy's going to come in and pay for everything. You're never good enough. You could be trillionaire, space cowboy, pro athlete, six-pack, the whole bit, and it's just never going to be good enough. And it's not just you. It is the last 10 guys, the last 20 guys, the last 50 guys, the last 70 guys. There's been hundreds of guys hitting these women up, and then their ego is inflated, and they think that somehow, well, I'll just, it'll happen sometime, like I'll have kids, and it's like, it's going to get harder. There's just, biologically, it is going to get harder to end up having kids when you're 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Now, could J-Lo have kids when, she's 50? Maybe, but it's probably going to take in vitro fertilization. It's going to take some kind of fertility drugs, like a lot of work, kind of thing. And just in general, it's going to be a lot harder. It's a lot more risky to do that, stuff like that. So I think that for the women out there, definitely guys are very attracted to a beautiful woman who's in their 30s, in their 40s. I mean, some guys will act like they're not. But honestly, if you're a 25-year-old guy and you don't think either J-Lo, Jennifer Aniston, or Gabrielle Union is hot, some of them, if one of those women is not attractive to you, you might be gay. So just, check yourself. Maybe you're gay. So, but for all practical purposes, most guys are going to look at a chick like, one of these chicks, or someone, a chick who's 35, who's stayed in shape and was always attractive. They're going to be attracted to it. Now, does it make sense to have a long-term relationship with that woman? Well, it may or may not. There's obviously there's a short window to have kids and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, I think that men in the early 20s, early to mid 20s, it's a good thing for them to have a relationship, even if it's just, a shorter relationship with a woman who's 10 to 15 years older than them. You're not a man until you get with a MILF, so, and I think it's a good experience, and it's a good experience for obviously like a chick who's 21 to get with a guy who's, 32, 35, 38, 39, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like a good looking guy. It's a good experience for them. They can learn from it. Whether they end up with him long term or not, who knows? But obviously, with men and women, the dynamic's a little bit different. Guys can continue to have kids, and if it's like one of my friends said. He said, "If you stay in shape, you get pussy for life." Well, that's what he said. I like the quote, but how how easy is it going to be when you're in your 70s, 80s, that kind of thing. It's going to get a little bit more difficult. But when we're talking about guys in their 30s, 40s, 50s, that kind of thing, 60s even, if you stay in shape, that's going to go a long ways. Honestly, I've had a lot more success many years out of college than I had in college. You just start to gain more confidence. You start to understand women better. You start to understand just the dynamic and just how to make a woman laugh, and just what pitfalls to avoid, because you'll really get yourself stuck in a swamp going kind of down these dead ends a lot, or kind of chasing the girl and saying, why isn't she getting back with me? I don't know. Women want to be with men who are desired by their women. So the fastest way to get over a hot chick is to find another hot chick, to find a hotter chick. So you start to learn these things over time, and don't get too caught up in stuff. But I don't subscribe to the whole thing that single women, over the age of 30 that are single are necessarily damaged goods. There could be a multitude of factors. There's obviously outliers. J-Lo's clearly an outlier, because even if she wasn't famous and she wasn't wealthy and all that kind of stuff, and she didn't have celebrity status, if I saw some chick like that, whether it was at the gas station or grocery store, I'd go up and say something to her, because for one, I wouldn't think she was 50. I would think she was maybe like 37 or 38 or maybe 42. You would, not really sure, somewhere in that range. But I would be like, whoa, like that looks good. So I would obviously go for her, and then just kind of figure stuff out from there. But as far as, women obviously like being like quote unquote damaged, I think that if a woman is watching this and you're 33, 34, 35, 36, whatever, and you're in that age range, I think that, you should definitely kind of like reevaluate the situation and why you turned all these other guys down in the past. What was wrong with them? The guys that you liked, what were some of the qualities they had, and really just kind of focus down on, kind of finding guys like that. Because if you just put yourself out there on Instagram, Facebook, Bumble, Hinge, these kind of things, there's going to be guys coming out of the woodwork. If you go into the gym, guys are going to cold approach you. There should be enough guys coming up to you, if you're focusing on yourself, eating right, exercising, and all those things, and putting yourself out there, that within 2, 3, 4 weeks, you should be kind of making some progress with a guy, to where you're at least kind of going down a path towards maybe, something you're looking for, if you're looking to get in a longer term relationship, and, hopefully, maybe you're going to have kids, maybe you don't want kids. That's for you to decide. But I think, like just our primitive minds, women do get baby fever at various stages, obviously, and, just our genetics are just designed that way too, that a woman is going to want to have kids. And men, if they're like really into you and they find you very attractive, they are going to lose their mind and, sit there and have unprotected sex with you, at some point, like if they're literally that into you. So, and guys, you know what I'm talking about. Like there might be a situation where a girl's so hot that you just kind of lose your mind, and even though you might not be ready for kids or something, let's say you're 25, you're not really like expecting to have kids, but the chick's so hot that you're almost like, if she said she was pregnant, you just be like, okay, like you just kind of like lose the logic behind it. Maybe you're not financially in a spot that you want to have kids, but you just kind of lose the logic if you're super into a chick and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that helps. I'm not trying to diss on women who are in their 30s by any means. There's definitely a lot of attractive women between, the ages of, obviously like 30 and, 45. And I've seen, obviously, J-Lo's 50. And I mean, I had a situation where I was actually in this hiking group out in Arizona, and this woman was 50, and she was like, and then in another situation, I ran into her at a bar and everything, and it got pretty hot and heavy and everything. And I mean, it was intense. Like it didn't end up playing out, just for a couple different reasons. I was with some other friends, she was with some other friends and stuff like that. Nothing ever happened between us, but it was definitely, and I mean, I was probably like 26, so, and she was 50. So, clearly there can still be that attraction. It isn't like you're totally just damaged goods and nobody like desires you. So anyway, guys, hopefully that helps. Share a little bit of my mentality. And again, it really comes down to eating right, staying in shape, and getting plenty of rest. That goes a long way. Anyway, guys, go ahead and subscribe if you like this video. I'm going to be coming out more of these types of videos. So see you later.